Welcome back to Off the Record. My name is Strider Bigler, and we're going to be discussing a couple things today. A major win by the Trump administration today. An appeals court ruled on his side when it comes to deploying the California National Guard in LA just a couple weekends ago. And then I'll be giving my take on the Iran situation and what I think should happen and what I hope does happen. So let's start. The federal appeals court ruled with Trump that Trump is allowed to deploy the National Guard in California, even though Governor Gavin Newsom believed that the local authorities had it under control. Despite the fact that the local authorities came out and said they didn't have it under control, Newsom swore that he had it covered. Now, Donald Trump was president during the summer of 2020 when all of the Black Lives Matter riots kind of terrorized the cities around the country. And Donald Trump saw the billions of dollars of damage that those riots caused America. And he said, no more. And before things could get out of hand, before major damage could hit the city of Los Angeles, he called in the California National Guard. And Gavin Newsom said no. Now, Gavin Newsom said he would be suing the Trump administration over this move, and that's not what this appellate panel was reviewing, but they did make the decision that when the president is unable with regular forces to execute laws of the United States, that he can use a National Guard such as the California National Guard. So to anybody who thinks that this is a downright unconstitutional move and an act of an authoritarian government, the thing I would have to ask you is, what should a president do? Let's say in 4 years, a Democrat is elected, and let's say the Proud Boys, some white supremacists start to take a LA Capitol building, or they start vandalizing public property. And let's say for whatever reason, Gavin Newsom is still the mayor of LA at that point, and he says, no, that's okay. We're just going to continue to let them to destroy our property. Do you think that a governor of a state should be allowed to dictate how much property is destroyed before they implement the National Guard? Or should the president have some say in that? Should the president be able to say, enough is enough? We're going to deploy the National Guard. We will be deploying the Marines, and we're going to stop it right now. Should mayors or governors have that much power? Frankly, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to the courts that a president should be allowed to limit the amount of damage done to a city. In 2020, once again, billions of dollars of damage. And we saw just a couple weekends ago at the ICE protest, the ICE riots, I think the total was around $20 to $30 million of damage. Now, that's nothing to sneeze at, but it's a lot less than what we saw in 2020. In Minneapolis alone, I believe it was around $400 to $500 million. So that was, I think, an excellent move by the Trump administration. Let's curb all of this violence. And to say that bringing in the National Guard is what caused these riots to get out of hand, I think that's just politics. I think that's being partisan. These riots were deadly, and they were violent before the National Guard got called. So that's what I have to say about this. That's a win for the Trump administration. It's been a kind of a bad month for the Trump administration. Things aren't going exactly how they wanted. So at least this went in their favor, even though it was pretty inconsequential towards what Trump wants to get done throughout his presidency. And then with the Iranian war, there's been a lot of talk about it. It's really the only thing in the news cycle right now. And Israel has bombed Iran. And it's not what President Trump wanted. It's not what any of the American citizens want, but this is a routine pattern of Israel doing what's in their best interest rather than the world's best interest. Israel has shown time and time again that they cannot be trusted by the United States or by anybody to do what's right. They're a greedy country. And in this case, I would like to see America try to stay out of it. We've had routine conflicts in the Middle East that have not gone well for America. You look at all of the Iraq war, all of it. we were told, we were sold a bill of goods that weapons of mass destruction were on the way for Iraq. And if we didn't step in, it was only a matter of time before they obtained those weapons. And then you look at the story in Iran today, and it's very similar. Iran is days away. Now, here's what I'll say. They said they were days away about a week ago. How many days exactly? Give us a number. But if Donald Trump really believed that Iran was days away from a nuclear weapon, he would have acted by now. All he's done is warn Iran that a potential strike could be coming. But I believe Donald Trump is kind of calling Israel and Iran's bluff here. Iran says that they're not producing a nuclear weapon right now, and Israel says they're days away. If Israel truly believes that, they'll continue to urge us to enter this conflict, which I hope we don't do. But Donald Trump saying, okay, Israel, prove that they have this nuclear weapon, prove that they're this imminent threat to our safety as Americans. Now, if they don't go ahead and prove that, and Donald Trump still kind of enters the United States into this conflict, I think that's a huge disgrace of what he ran on just a couple months ago. He was known as the peace president, one of the only presidents in modern American history that no new wars started under his leadership. And we were sold that it would be the same story again. He used it pretty frequently that Kamala Harris would not be fit to govern during times like these. These are high stake times that will impact the rest of the world and the future of this world. A war in the Middle East is not what we want to get tangled up in right now. Americans will die. And so this is what the people voted Donald Trump to do. They wanted him, not Kamala Harris, to be in power during these times to govern. We trusted him more than Kamala, and it'd be a pretty big blunder by the Trump campaign. He would be alienating pretty much half of his base. You look at a lot of the younger Make America Great Again advocates are very anti-war, very isolationist. And so that would be kind of alienating that base, the base that really turned to him in this last election. And then you look at the war hawks of the old Republican Party that still voted for Donald Trump begrudgingly, I'll say, but still did. They're going to be happy and excited because they want a regime change. But let me ask you this as we wrap up this video. When was the last time you saw a regime change work? They're violent and they're pretty risky. Unless it's a natural uprising by the people, they typically don't respond well to their democratically elected leaders being pretty much killed by the United States government. So it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. And so I just don't think it's something that we should do. I don't think it's wise to try to insert ourselves into this conflict too much. Now, if the reports are true that Iran is that close to a nuclear weapon, it's extremely dangerous for Iran to get that. We saw with North Korea, the second they developed a nuclear weapon, we have to take them seriously. And we have to put extra care and extra caution into diplomacy with North Korea that we otherwise really wouldn't have to. It's not that powerful of a nation. But once you become a nuclear power, it puts a couple more chips in your corner is what I'll say. It gives you extra negotiating power because you have this weapon that can kill thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people just sitting in your back pocket. And that's not what we want to have to deal with. Iran's a whole lot easier if we can just contain them, if we can keep them without a nuclear weapon. No one in the Middle East deserves a nuclear weapon. And frankly, we don't need to be developing any more nuclear weapons in the entire world. It's not something that benefits the people. That's something that Trump has run on for 3 campaigns now. So if he turns his back on that, I'm going to be very disappointed. I know a lot of people who voted for him last November will also be disappointed. So that's my take on the Iran conflict. So thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe if you liked it.